At the beginning of the school year, Miami's Riverside Elementary was already beyond capacity. And then, says Principal Erica Paramore-Respress, more and more students kept showing up to enroll.
Every day, literally, we have students that are registering, and some are from the neighborhood and some are from other places outside of the state, but more recently outside of the country, specifically Central America.
More than 70 new students from Central America signed up here over the summer and during the first 2 weeks of school. Officials assume many of them arrived in the wave of unaccompanied minors that recently washed over this country and are awaiting a hearing in immigration court. While they wait, they go to school. And according to federal law, schools are not allowed to ask about students' immigration status. That makes it tough to plan ahead.
How many of you are from Honduras? Please raise your hands.
Many of the new arrivals from this school may have fled drug gangs and violence in Honduras. Belkis Arias arrived from that country a couple of months ago.
It's a little difficult to understand the people who speak English, but I like it here.
Like many other kids who just started at Riverside, Belkis doesn't speak English, and that makes teaching lessons more time-consuming.
So let's look at the first vocabulary word. It says loan, right? ¿Qué letra comienza loan?
All Riverside instructors know how to teach English as a second language. That's not true in all schools here. But a district-wide problem is finding space for all the extra students.
We have utilized every single space imaginable here in the building, and the only other way that we can continue to grow at this rate is to implement a co-teaching model which puts 2 teachers in 1 classroom. And even that has limitations because there are some classrooms that is just not physically possible to house 2 teachers in 1 classroom.
Miami-Dade is the 4th largest district in the country, and it estimates it costs an extra $2,000 per year to provide additional help to each foreign-born student. This year, the federal government gave Miami-Dade a $3.4 million grant to address those costs. But Superintendent Alberto Carvalho says it's not enough to fund special services for the thousands of new arrivals from Latin America.
They're all arriving poor, facing English language limitations. They are very serious. And many of them arriving facing social and psychological needs, no doubt because of the conditions they're left behind in their countries, as well as the very harrowing and traumatic journey through Mexico before crossing the border.
Oscar is one of those children. He was 12 when he made the journey from Honduras to the United States with his 17-year-old sister Melissa. Honduras has the highest murder rate in the world and is among the poorest countries in Latin America. Criminal gangs had threatened them both.
They threatened to rape me or hurt us or do other terrible things if we didn't cooperate with them.
I also came for a reason, the drug traffickers, the crime. Traffickers were looking for kids to smuggle drugs into other countries.
Melissa and Oscar have asked us not to use their real names, and they say the decision to flee their country was an easy one.
I had to do it because I had no other option. If I did not leave my country, I don't know what would have happened to me or my brother.
Whether we're talking about the Mariel boat lift, particularly involving Cuba, or more recently, after hurricanes or earthquake destruction in Haiti, the fact that we pick up hundreds, if not thousands, of children. So we know how to do this.
That experience will help Miami-Dade cope with the latest influx of children. But time may test its endurance because the kids may be here quite a while. Melissa and Oscar, for example, were quickly apprehended when they crossed the U.S. border into Texas and were eventually released to a family member in Miami. They were fortunate to find a pro bono attorney to help them make the case for staying in the U.S., but even that may not speed things up. Cheryl Little is the executive director of the South Florida nonprofit Americans for Immigrant Justice.
Cases have been backlogged for years. I mean, I think that the number now is something like 375,000 backlogged cases. We have clients who've waited years and years and years for their day in court. Obviously, that has to change.
Back at Riverside, the mood is upbeat as the school prepares for more students to arrive. They are trying to manage larger class sizes by having teachers become specialists.
So we have one teacher who's responsible for the reading and social studies and writing, and then the other teacher is responsible for the science and the math. So you become an expert in fewer subjects, even though you have a larger amount of students.
Everyone's on page 9, right? Yeah.
And sometimes they have children lead discussions. But the principal says that before anything can be taught,
We need to make sure that everybody's safe, that there is a place that is for learning, and that sets the tone, that sets the groundwork. And when these kids come in, they need to know we are not really concerned about your immigration status. It matters not. We want you to come in and we want to teach you.
And she says the school will continue to welcome new students, no matter where they come from.